Hey everyone, this is Daniel,
And I'm Jun,
and we are
Korean.
American.
Morning.
Good morning.
All of a sudden became very cool.
Oh, thank goodness.
Yeah, it was a very so last week was Chuseok,
Yeah,
right? And everyone was talking about how it's the hottest Chuseok that they ever experienced,
yeah,
which is true.
which is true.
It was very odd
Yeah,
because we talk about global
yeah,
warming and like the climate change and everything. It
mm-hmm.
really didn't hit me, but then it was such a distinctive barometer
Yeah,
to understand that this is different
yeah, it's real now.
because it
Chuseok
was
was
never,
hot.
yeah, it was never like this during Chuseok.
Yeah,
It was actually like it felt like midsummer.
yeah, it was really
It
hot.
was crazy. And then
Um,
all of a sudden there was a typhoon and then everything like the heat just ended.
cool down,
Yeah.
yeah. I think father-in-law made a joke because Chu stands for autumn, I believe.
Yes.
So it was like, oh, 추석 아니고 마석이야 or something. What's
Hasok?
Hasok? Yeah,
Yeah.
what's the Chinese character for summer? Ha, right?
Ha,
Yeah.
yeah.
So it's not Chuseok, it's Hasok. And
It's
everyone,
like
they got a good laugh out of everyone.
it's like old person like word play.
Wordplay, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it was very hot over Chuseok.
Hmm.
How's your Chuseok break, by the way?
I think maybe I've mentioned this before with
Uh-huh.
I don't know during the podcast, but with you definitely that our Chuseoks are so
Yeah.
standardized that I know exactly what's gonna happen from beginning to end.
No breaks from tradition this time.
I mean, it's like this is interesting. We started not doing the chare thing starting I think this year.
The what thing?
The chare thing, like the 제사 kind of thing.
Oh, but you still went to your tomb, I thought I saw. What did
Yes.
you call it? 묘,
성묘.
성묘.
Yeah, we did that,
Mm.
which is kind of a tradition.
Mm-hmm.
There was a very interesting anecdote about this Chuseok is because it was 5 days, right?
Yes, it
'Cause
was
usually
very
the
long.
holidays are there are 3 holidays for Chuseok,
Mm-hmm.
but then it was combined with the weekend, so
Mm-hmm.
it was 5 days.
Yeah.
And then usually how we do it is that me and my brother reserve for a train ticket, which is a very big deal
Yeah, hard to get.
because we call it 민족 대이동, like the national movement. The
Like migration,
moving
right?
migration,
Yeah.
yeah.
Uh-huh.
So it's really hard to get
Yeah, it
train
is.
tickets, and there are designated dates specifically to reserve for that date,
Uh-huh.
and it starts at 7 a.m. and you have to wake up, and then like you have to like count by the second, and then
Try
like
to log in and reserve it. Yeah.
which we successfully did.
Uh-huh.
And the way that we do it every year is that we go the day before,
Uh-huh.
and then we leave the day after.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you're actually going the busiest time.
Yeah.
Okay, okay.
But then after we successfully reserved for the ticket, my dad was like, "Oh, I thought the day of was Monday." It was
Oh,
actually
Tuesday,
Tuesday.
right?
So we
Yeah,
planned everything for Monday. So we had to reserve everything again
Uh-huh.
to arrive on Sunday
Sunday.
and leave
Mhm.
on Tuesday. So we did somehow get tickets for to get there,
Uh-huh.
but then we couldn't reserve the tickets to come back.
Uh-huh.
And for I'm not even kidding, for the last day, the day after Chuseok, the
Yeah.
day that we have to leave, even up until the morning,
Yeah.
we didn't have tickets.
To come back.
So
Yeah.
me and my brother literally for like 5 hours straight
Tried
was
to
like
refresh.
looking at our phones, like refresh, refresh, to the point where like this doesn't even like what's the point of staying like another day?
Yeah.
Because like both of us are just like looking at our phones constantly because
Yeah.
we had to go back.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, so okay, so eventually we got only one ticket,
Yeah.
so like we needed another one, so we couldn't get the one that goes from Daegu all the way to Seoul. So
Yeah.
we reserved one that goes to from Daegu to Daejeon,
Mm.
and then like
How'd you get up from Daejeon? Yeah.
my brother had to like what a 입석 is?
No.
Like there's a ticket where you can just stand.
Oh, standing only. Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
So we did that.
You didn't want to sit in your brother's lap, June.
No, I took the seat actually. I didn't
Oh,
want
your
my
brother stood
brother.
up?
Yeah,
Oh, wait, so your brother stood up?
yeah.
Oh. Wait, what were you gonna say? You didn't want your brother to what?
Sit on my lap.
Oh, what a sacrificial brother, Jun.
Yeah,
Oh, you have a good hyung.
I have a good hyung.
Mm.
Yeah.
Wait, so you had your tickets already booked though for
The-
Tuesday. So arriving Monday, leaving Wednesday.
Yes.
Why didn't you just keep that ticket and come back Wednesday? You didn't want to spend one more day at home. Oh wow. Do you actually want to run through the Chuseok? No,
Huh?
we don't have time for that. But
The-
besides the Seongmyo,
Mhm.
what else do you do? What's part of the exactly what's gonna
My
happen?
family tradition or what people usually do?
For you, yeah.
Nothing special. We used to do the thing called the chare, which is like the 제사 equivalent.
Yeah.
The difference between a chare and a 제사 is that a 제사 is to commemorate a specific person,
Uh-huh.
whereas like a chare is for your ancestors in general.
In general, okay,
Yeah,
okay,
so it's
okay.
pretty much the same,
Yeah.
but we call it chare. So we used to have a chare in the morning of the day of.
Uh-huh.
And then sometimes we used, when my grandmother was still alive, we used to go to her house.
Yeah.
But then after she passed away, people come to our house because my father is the oldest of the siblings.
Yeah.
So you know what a concept of a 큰집 is?
Yeah. You mentioned this before. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just a designated house.
Yeah. Of like the successor,
Yeah,
if you
yeah.
will.
I think it's the oldest male, typically.
I don't know if it's technically the oldest male because like my grandfather passed away even before I was born.
Yeah.
So it was for like my entire life with my grandmother. It was only my grandmother, but we still called it the 큰집. Yeah.
Got it.
Anyway, so we either go to the 큰집, but now our house is my parents' house is the 큰집.
Yeah.
So people come. That's pretty much it.
Okay.
Not a lot of people involved.
Yeah. Jun, I think we'll just take this chance to address one of the comments in the Discord because it seems very related.
It's from Joanna, right?
Yeah.
She's my friend.
Oh. Okay. But there was a question around... Wait, where was this? Sajib Sari. Oh, okay. She said, in Korea, there's a term called 시집 살이, and she's wondering if there's a similar culture in the U.S. So maybe you could explain what 시집 살이 is?
So I think traditionally what happens when a couple gets married is that the bride comes to live in the husband's family together because traditionally a married couple doesn't move out and they just stay with their family together.
Yeah.
So what happens is that the bride moves into the husband's house and then they take care of the parents and everything, right?
So not only
that's
the husband, but the husband's parents too. Yeah.
So in the bride's perspective, your husband's family is called the 시집. So 시집 살이 means like to live in. So it's like living in your husband's family kind of. And it involves a lot of like
Stereotypical, right?
stereotypical hardships that comes from the conflicts, between the wife and the husband's mother and their family and all that. And I think I brought the concept of 고부 갈등. It's like the conflict between your mother-in-law
Yeah.
and then the
Daughter-in-law
wife.
specifically, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's like this whole phenomena, but like usually in modern Korea, you don't live with your husband's family anymore.
Yeah.
So when you experience this for like a brief moment is during the holidays.
Yeah, specifically Chuseok and New Year's, right? So Thanksgiving and New
Yeah.
Year's. When you go to the 큰집 and you have to prepare all the food and all that, right?
Yeah. But even if you're not living with them, there must be some interactions here and there with your husband's family anyway. So like that all together in like a broader term, I think people describe as 시집살이 in
I see.
modern Korea. Yeah.
Okay, first of all, would Cinderella be an apt comparison?
Cinderella.
Basically, I know it's not daughter-in-law, it's more stepdaughter type thing. Yeah.
A stepdaughter, but I don't think it's a accurate comparison.
I see.
Because Cinderella was actually living with their stepmother, right?
Yeah.
So it's not like your mother-in-law. It's
I
not
see.
like your husband's mother.
Yeah.
kind of, yeah.
But I was saying more like she just has to do everything, all the work for the
Oh,
family.
in that sense, yes.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah.
The one thing that comes to mind is, June, I was looking, I'm going through the process of archiving older photos in my grandma's,
Oh, you showed me
yeah,
some.
she's 100, right?
Yeah.
And I looked at one of the pictures. I was like, oh, who's this? Who's this? Who's this?
Mm-hmm.
And then, oh, basically it's my great aunts. So my grandfather's sisters.
Mm.
And I was like, oh, are they still alive? Like maybe when I'm done archiving, I can share these photos with them. And my dad's face just went like, and I was like, oh, you're not close. He was like, they treated my mother very harshly. We're not communicating with them.
Yeah.
Which I think is similar, right? Which is
Yeah.
basically sister-in-laws also can kind of like do the similar, I think, maybe bossing around or treating them like a servant
Yeah.
to their sister-in-law, to
Yeah.
their brother's wife.
I don't think it's an uncommon thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
But I was like, oh wow, like my dad has no interest in having any relationship with these people. But I can understand if you see your mother being mistreated by your aunts,
Yeah.
why that would be traumatizing.
But I appreciate your father's stance of trying to like stand up for his mother.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, no, I appreciate that. I wanted to bring up one more anecdote and then I'll answer the question. But I think it was last Sarlar, so last New Year's, after kind of the meal was over, me and my generation, the cousins, went into a different room while the older people stayed in the main room, eating fruit, whatever. And as soon as we got in there, my cousin's wife started just laying into my male cousin, who is definitely of marriage age, but unmarried.
Yeah.
At first, I thought it was a joke, but it didn't stop. And so I was like, oh, she's really mad. She's like, when are you getting married? We need someone else to come and help us, like prepare all the food and do everything. Right? And she was like legitimately angry at my cousin because he's not married.
I think she was like half joking.
I think it was half joking,
Yeah.
but it was more serious than I expected it to be.
Yeah.
It got a little tense. Yeah.
It made him uncomfortable.
It made everyone uncomfortable. Yeah. But it just goes to show how much work it is.
Yeah.
Traditionally, because it's the women that prepare everything, clean everything, etc.
I think it still is. I want to address this.
Yeah.
That I don't want to sugarcoat this by saying like, oh, it's not like that anymore in Korean society. I think it's still in the holidays. It's like the women who does all the work.
Yeah. My answer in the Discord to the question, which was, does this kind of culture exist in America?
Yes.
Specifically, I'll start to say again, I'm not a woman, so I don't know firsthand. But in general, when your son gets married, I feel like almost the mother-in-law or the parents are nicer to the daughter-in-law than they are to the son. In a sense, it's like, oh, like gratitude and gratefulness for marrying my son, etc.
Okay.
And they really welcome them into the family like a daughter and not necessarily a daughter-in-law. So secondly, I'll address basically around the holiday season. It's not, and I want to be clear too, in America still, women do the majority of the cooking for sure. But it falls solely, I'd say, on the kunjip's mom or whatever, the woman of the kunjip. Not that the entire generation
Wait, sorry,
of
that's
women.
fascinating. How do you determine a kunjip in the U.S.?
It's just who's hosting, actually. Yeah.
So it differs by year?
It differs by year. You just agree, like,
interesting.
oh, who's hosting this year?
Oh,
and I'd
cool,
say
cool.
typically you try to rotate it around. Although if there's a reason,
So democratic.
if there's a reason, let's say like, someone's immobile, like everyone will come to that person. Or if there's a central location that makes sense, minimizes travel for all the
I
people
see.
coming, you might always go to that one house. But it's also common, let's say a circle of families live near each other, for you to just rotate like who's hosting, kind of share the burden. But I'd say it solely falls on, again, the one person, and everyone else then just helps however they can.
I see.
It's not all the women are required to just like go and do everything. And I think the reason I bring this up is that it becomes very almost cheerfully helping. And I think it's because there's no clear expectation of it. And I think another difference is they'll delegate a lot too. It's like for me, it's like, oh, mashed potatoes, like, oh, baste the turkey every 15 minutes, whatever, right? And so they just can just delegate and then we'll help out how we can. And so I think in that sense, it just feels more like we're all doing it together. Even though, yeah, at the end of the day, it's one person who's responsible for making sure the meal comes together, but everyone's kind of cheerfully helping throughout the day. Yeah.
I mean, I love the fact that you described it as like cheerful helping. And I feel like because there was so much burden on the women's side in Korea in preparing for all these food and traditions, and like there's this backlash towards like let's not let's cancel this altogether. I feel like we should. I want it to maintain, but in a way that everyone's helping so that it could sustain, right? But like the thing that I'm seeing right now in modern days Korea is that this is just a bad tradition, and like let's cancel this altogether, right?
I see.
And
Yeah.
this is like a common. I don't know. We should cover this once, sometimes in our future episode. But like the problem solving way of how in Korea sometimes it's like they just abruptly
Too extreme.
cancel everything altogether.
I see.
Right. I think I mentioned this during like the Halloween thing.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I remember that. Yeah. Okay. Well, that was a big tangent. I'm not sure we'll keep it. But, okay. Anyway, so you had a good Chuseok.
I had a yeah.
Oh, sorry.
I had one day of literally just trying to book for tickets.
You had your stereotypical traditional Chuseok for you. Okay. Yeah. We went to Paju. So that's where my mother-in-law lives. One day we celebrated with my wife's mom's side. And the next day we celebrated with my wife's dad's side. So I got to see all the family. Actually, the dad's side was nice because it was the first time in that family. There are 3 different weddings happening in the next 6 months. So it was the first time, apparently, when all of the cousins and aunts and uncles were all gathered. And so it was, I think, pretty special for them to just all be there together.
It's also very special for a typical Korean house like family that there
To get all
are
together.
3 marriages.
Oh, yeah, that too.
Yeah. So no one's getting married these days.
We got the invitation in person twice, which was nice.
Cool.
Yeah, so I think that's part of it. They wanted to use it as a way to give the invitations out. But yeah. And then, yeah, after that, because our older kids were still off school, we did a very last minute trip to Hokkaido,
Yes.
which I won't talk about too much, but it was nice. It was much more rural and remote. We spent one day in Sapporo, but the other 2 days we were just kind of in the Lake Toya, I think, Toyako. It was just beautiful scenery, perfect fall weather, just like really crisp, cool 50 degrees Fahrenheit. And yeah, it was nice. It was very slow paced. So yeah, it was a nice little break. So
Yeah, I heard that Hokkaido, I've never been to Hokkaido myself, but I heard that they have excellent food. Yeah, dairy products, right?
it was
Seafood.
amazing. Yeah.
They're famous for their lamb
Ah.
and soup curry. Do you know what a soup curry is?
No, but I had it. I didn't know they were famous for it.
Yeah. You had it, so.
It was just curry, but a little runny. Like it was
Yes.
exactly what it sounds like.
Yeah.
And then yeah, the hotel breakfast buffet, it had like fresh cheese. It's like very mozzarella-esque. Like put some olive oil, put some salt on it. Oh man, it was delicious. Yeah.
Cool.
But yeah, June. It's quite the lead-in. I don't know how to transition.
Well, we talked a lot about our personal lives today
Oh,
in
yeah.
our intro.
Let's continue by finally, I think this is the episode where we want to talk about our MBTIs.
Yay! I don't know if a lot of people are going to be interested in this, but I
Yeah.
think Korean people in general are very interested in the concept itself.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So let me share my first MBTI story, which is I had heard rumors of like MBTI being, and to be clear, do Koreans call it just MBTI? If you say Myers-Briggs, would they know what you're saying?
No, definitely not.
That's my experience too.
Yeah.
Because I've said, oh, like, have you heard of Myers-Briggs? They're like, what? And I'm like, MBTI. They're like, oh, MBTI.
Yeah. But is that like officially what it's called though?
Yes,
MBTI?
Myers-Briggs Type Indicator. Yeah.
But do they actually say Myers-Briggs in the States?
Yeah. What's your
interesting.
Myers-Briggs?
Okay.
Yeah, because MBTI is not so at the forefront of everyone's thinking
I see.
that they were like MBTI, but Myers-Briggs. Oh, I know what my Myers-Briggs type is.
I
Yeah.
see.
But yeah, before I came, I guess 3 years ago, I just had heard, oh, MBTI is really popular. Myers-Briggs is really popular in Korea. And I was like, no way. As soon as I land from the airport, I don't know, I'm just like at a coffee shop. I just hear like MBTI, MBTI, oh I, oh N. Like I'm just like hearing Myers-Briggs vocabulary all around me. I'm like, oh, this is real. And then of course I was extra kind of attuned to it, so I just hear it all the time. I guess my number one surprise is that it's still popular 3 years later.
Yeah.
Like I thought this would have been like most trends in Korea. It would come and it would go. But this has some lasting power. I guess this might be a bit early to talk about this, but like why do you think it's still sticking around or it's still so common?
I think it's because, okay, to begin with, I think this trend started from, I want to say 5 years ago.
Okay.
I mean, Myers-Briggs existed even before that, but I think it sort
Exactly.
of took off.
Yeah.
I think through the power of social media, kind of.
Oh, okay.
And then it became a thing. And I think before that was like blood type thing,
Yeah.
which I think even Korean people knew that it's kind of BS. But some people religiously believed in that
Yeah,
too.
my grandma again still asks what my kids' blood types are. And I always lie because I don't actually know. I don't want to tell her I don't know.
Oh, you don't know?
I don't want to wait and look it up. So I
Ah.
just lie to my grandma.
I see.
I'm like, oh, A, B. I don't know. Yeah.
You know what yours is? And you know what your wife's is?
No.
Oh, you don't even know what yours is?
I believe I've looked it up enough now that I know. Jun, I have this one random blood test from like 8 years ago.
Yeah.
That's the only time I've ever like they don't tell you by default in America what your blood type is on your blood work.
But you did the annual health screening. Did they not tell you your blood type there?
Maybe I could go reference that now.
Yeah.
But the only digital copy I have, I believe, is from this like random blood screening 8 years ago. And the reason I asked them to run my blood type, June, is because Koreans ask me, and I was like, oh, I want to know what it is for the sake of my Korean relatives. I think a lot of Americans could grow up never ever knowing their blood type. And it only matters when it comes to blood transfusions, right? And emergencies, things like that.
But yeah, I was gonna ask, like, what if that happens?
Yeah, I know. Then they can look it up on my medical record or whatever. But or they'll just run a quick test or something. But yeah.
I see.
Anyway, I believe I'm an AB.
You're an AB?
No. I really don't know.
Yeah, I don't believe in you.
I actually think I'm A. I think I'm A positive.
How did you like switch from AB to an A?
What's the most commone one? I think I'm the
Actually
most
don't know.
common one.
I feel
You
like
know,
it's
June,
A.
honestly, I don't know. Yeah. Should I look it up in that one test from 8 years ago? Oh my gosh.
So blood types were so popular,
Yeah.
I think 20 years ago ish,
Yeah.
that they even made a movie out of it.
Really?
Yeah, because there was a very strong stigma towards type B
Against type B.
against.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
not cool. Like alienating targeting 1/4 of the population or whatever.
I mean, there's stigmas, there's stereotypes for all four types, but the type B is the most, I think, distinctively stigmatized one. Is it common that American people usually don't know what their blood type is?
I do think it's common that people do not know what their blood type is.
Interesting. If I were better at blood types, this would be a good opportunity for me to guess what yours is and then see if I can get it right. Before you say it, can I guess?
Yeah, guess.
I'm actually looking at the blood type characteristics right now.
Okay. Wait, are you guessing just based on this or in general? Knowing me.
In general, knowing you.
Okay.
Oh, this meaning this incident right here?
Yeah.
No.
How it took me 5 minutes to find out my
no.
blood type.
I know that you're a P from this,
Strong P.
but I want to guess that you are type A.
Yes, A positive.
Yay!
I am A positive, yes.
Okay. Because they say type A is meticulous, caring, but also shy, collectivist,
I think I am in general.
timid.
Yeah.
I
Accurate.
think timid is the most well-known characteristics amongst Korea towards type A. 소심해.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm a little bit more cautious, I think.
Yeah.
In certain things, yeah.
They say jokingly, whenever someone asks for your blood type, and they say like, why do you ask? That's an A.
Untrusting of others. Yeah.
Um,
Jun, what's your blood type?
I wanted to say
You
try
know,
to
right?
guess. I know,
Oh,
yeah.
but I don't know enough about blood types.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm type A too.
Oh,
Yeah. Team A.
Team A.
Yeah.
But it's so, I mean, there's only 4, right?
Yeah. So I think during my research, I realized this came from some Japanese scholar.
Uh-huh.
Like in one of his papers, he tried to convey that there are different personal characteristics depending on their blood types. And they say type A is like meticulous, caring, but also shy, collectivist, timid, and stubborn.
That's me. Yeah.
Type B has strengths in leadership, curiosity, creativeness, intelligence, and personable.
Oh, wow. Okay.
But I think they're more famous in Korea, at least for their cons, which is being arrogant and mean-spirited.
Wow. Okay. Okay. And you said there was a whole movie in Korea based on
비형
the
남자.
negative
Yeah.
B type guy.
Yeah. It was pretty well, like people actually believed it
Yeah.
20 years ago.
Uh-huh.
And I remember when people go on like sogetings, people will ask like, what's their blood type?
Ah,
Kind
okay,
of, like
okay.
it's like the number one thing that
Yeah,
they
back
ask.
then.
Yeah. Type O has pros in passion, hard work, but also their cons is stupid. I don't know.
Unintelligent.
But in my understanding
Yeah.
in Korea, type O is the one who has like the most well-rounded characteristics.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, it's like
Okay.
can like get along with people easily,
Yeah.
kind of. Yeah. Type AB, they say it's like intelligence, good judgment, but also selfish.
Oh, okay.
But in Korea, I know that AB is like the psycho.
Oh, the psycho. Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
kind of like we don't know what they're
Ah.
thinking about. Yeah,
So like wild card.
kind of.
Okay.
Yeah,
But kind of a negative connotation
kind of
overall.
like genius, but like crazy genius,
I
kind
see.
of.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So those are like stereotypically how Koreans think of the blood types. I see. I mean, blood types weren't. When were they discovered? Like they're relatively modern discovery, I think. Right. So
At least with the start of like blood donation.
that's true. I think
Yeah.
they needed to be aware of blood transfusions
Yeah.
and when it doesn't work. I see. Okay. Actually, blood types. Okay. They were discovered in 1901.
Interesting.
Anyway, but this is a good segue though into Myers-Briggs. Do you see MBTI as the successor to blood types in a sense that I know MBTI is still very commonly used for sogetings and just like casual conversation when you meet strangers. And it sounds like that's what blood types used to be used for too. And also just a way to determine general compatibility and personalities. So do you see it as just like having replaced blood types?
Kind of, but I think it's more sticking than blood types. The reason is because it has more logic to it. I think, right?
Yeah.
Whereas like blood types or horoscopes could be considered as total BS unless it's scientifically proven to be true. But I think some people think that MBTI is also BS, but it is. I think it's logical in a sense because it's just asking your preference towards 4 different things, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So it's just like it cannot be not logical because it's just describing your preference towards 4 different areas. Yeah.
It's interesting you say that because again, the stigma against MBTI in America is that it's all pseudoscience. So personally, again, I'm a big fan of any sort of type frameworks. We'll get into that more later. Because I think it just gives another way of looking at yourself, looking at others, and just examining, how people differ and are similar. But I think people in America, the stigma is mostly around how MBTI is used to help determine career path. One is like, no, that's kind of BS. But 2, also they don't like being put in a box. They're like, well, I might be this MBTI, but I am that way too. And I think again, Americans are like, don't put me in a box. I can be this part of this MBTI, take that parts of that MBTI, and I'm my own unique person. But I do think, and I want to get your thoughts on this, June. Koreans are more, I guess, accommodating of these like frameworks to like put people into more clusters or boxes of, similar, dissimilar, personalities or whatever it might be. So I don't know if you agree with that, but
I do agree with that, but I have certain thoughts about that. I think it's just natural human behavior to categorize things and cluster things. And that's the way that human beings understand and navigate through the world, right?
yeah,
Otherwise, they can't understand anything, right?
it's true. Yeah.
It is, and I feel like there are some like true believers of MBTI and there are also true not believers of MBTI. And both extremes are, I think, stupid. There's like so for the people who like are very against MBTI, who said like how can you classify like all the population in 16 different categories?
Yeah.
We're just talking about tendencies,
Yeah,
right?
sure.
We're not saying you're exactly we can define you exactly. It's there's a tendency of people,
Yeah.
and I think that's true. There
Yeah.
are tendencies, and that you can loosely categorize,
For
right?
sure.
And same for the people who are true, like very, very true believers who think that actually people, you can very distinctively and accurately define someone's character
Just by their MBTI.
just by the 16 different types. I think it's equally silly. So I think it's yeah. And to your question about like how Korean people want to and are more willingly want to categorize people in different boxes. I think it goes back to the collectivist thing, right? I think, yeah, naturally American people tend to be more individualistic. They might have tendencies to not try to be in a box, right?
Yeah.
So I think that's one thing. Another reason why I think that it's such a national, what do you say, sensation is because I think it's more accurately true in Korea because people are less individualistic. I think if you can define, let's say you can define someone's character by, like Myers-Briggs multiplied by your individualistic character, multiplied by like your nationality and your like cultural upbringing. I think the other factors are pretty much
The same in Korea.
fixed in Korea.
Yeah.
So for you to understand someone by your Myers-Briggs, I think people think that it's more accurate.
Yeah.
And people tend to be more believers of this theory. And that's why I think it's such a national sensation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So maybe not collectivist then, it's just the homogeneity of the culture here.
Yes.
Like everyone's the same, so we need something to differentiate ourselves.
And if we do differentiate, it is more accurate.
Yeah,
is what I'm trying to say.
I could see that.
Yeah.
And then collectivist, I want to bring that up too because I feel like a lot of who you are in Korea, again, it's so relational, right? It's like what role are you filling in this relationship or in society? And I wonder if that plays a part here too, which is like, everyone needs like, let's say in a friends group circle, it's like, oh, someone's the funny person or someone's the encyclopedic, knowledgeable person or someone's the successful person or someone's the good look. I don't know. Do you feel that at all? Like your Myers-Briggs helps you understand what you bring to a relationship or a friend group circle, and then you can like help fill that role?
Not necessarily that way.
Okay.
I think it definitely did help people understand each other better. And I think that's like one of the big pros of MBTI in Korea, at least.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, Jun, should we reveal our MBTIs now?
Yeah. Yeah.
43 minutes into the recording. I don't know if people care, but yeah. It's come up so many times and we've had to like dance around it. And for the audience too, it's because neither of us, Jun or I, are really deep into MBTI. So we really wanted to bring on a guest that was super into it, could tell us more about it, help evaluate it, etc. But we decided we might as well, it's come up so many times, we should just talk about it. So
I mean, we can do a follow-up episode if we can find a
yes,
guest.
if we can find an expert in MBTI, please, we'd love to have you on the show. But Jun, do you want to go first?
Yeah. I am and actually someone actually guessed correctly in one of the comments.
Oh, they did, yeah.
Yeah. I'm an INTP.
Ooh, INTP.
Yeah.
What is that known for?
Let me check.
You both have to look it up. This tells you all you need to know about us and Myers-Briggs.
You know what's so this is one aspect that I wanted to mention in terms of how popular MBTI is in Korea.
Yeah.
They have a way, they have a different way to pronounce this.
What do you mean?
Some people say INTP in
Yeah.
Korea, but some people say INTIP.
Oh, they're shorthand
Yeah.
for the different types, the
Yeah.
16 types.
INTIP.
June, I want to talk about that in a bit, how integrated this is into society now, but we'll get to that later.
The first thing that I see is 공감 능력 떨어짐.
Oh, you're reading a Korean site about Myers-Briggs.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
Has low empathy towards towards others, which I think is kind of true.
I can see that, yeah.
They have interest in intellectual aspects,
I can definitely see that.
but
yeah.
have low execution.
No, I think you're high execution. Yeah. No, and Jun.
영혼 없는 리액션을 잘함.
What's that?
They react to people with no
Emotion?
like non-authentic reactions. Like kind of pretend.
Yeah.
Sometimes maybe. 게으르고 미루는.
No, sorry, June. You've admitted that yourself. Like, small talk's hard for you because of the reaction, not the talking.
Yeah.
You're just not that interested.
I don't know why I researched this in Korea. Maybe I should.
No. I think this is fascinating, actually.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Because you're looking at a Korean site about it.
사회적 거리두기 잘함. Good at social distancing. Yes.
Yeah, accurate. Were you one of those people during like quarantine? You were like, yes, this is amazing.
This is amazing.
No expectation.
귀찮은 듯한 말투. Do you get what this means?
귀찮은 말. You don't
Your
like
demeanor in general is kind of like 귀찮아.
everything's annoying.
Yeah.
I could see that a little bit. No, you're no nonsense. And this is why I did no injung to like you're not execution oriented. I think you're very action and execution oriented. Because you're always like get to the point, like what are we gonna do? Yeah.
That's true.
At least I feel that way.
게으르고 미루는 거 좋아함.
Don't know what that means. You like something.
Lazy and push things back.
Is that true?
In certain aspects.
Oh, okay.
I don't think I'm a diligent person. I wouldn't describe myself as diligent. 모임에서 다른 사람들과 잘 어울리지 못함. Don't get along with people in social circles.
Really? Antisocial? Kind of a loner?
Kind of, yeah. I definitely I resonate with that. Yeah. Okay, that was the INTIP. Oh wait, sorry. I was reading off of the cons of INTP.
Oh, only the cons.
Yeah.
Okay.
But anyways.
No, what were the goods?
The strengths are like logical daydreamer.
Okay. Yeah.
That was, yeah. Maybe there's only one.
Wait, so we differ by one, right? The F versus T. So I'm an INFP. I'm going off 16personalities.com.
You gave it off as if it's nothing.
What?
Where like you had like the whole drum roll for me.
I feel like people would know mine. Maybe not.
No, but to be clear, this one person tried to guess our MBTIs and they got mine right, but they got yours incorrectly. I don't know what they guessed yours, but
okay, I will say I'm an INFP. I'm very confident in that. A friend of the pod, AM, is convinced I'm an ENFP. Because he's married to an INFP and he says I am nothing like his wife. At the same time, I would say that friend of the pod knows me mostly in a work context. And
you also said you were more an INTP in a work
context.
context.
I was going to say in work, I think I present more as an INTP because feelings are not allowed in the workplace.
I thought you were a very strong F during work too.
Oh yeah, I am an F.
Yeah.
So you're saying I don't present as an INTP at work. I do think I have to be more T-like at work. And I could also present more extroverted at work because in my role, typically I need to, get people involved, excited, be more social, etc. But yeah, I'm an INFP. This site calls me the mediator. And so they have a vibrant, passionate inner life, creative, imaginative, losing themselves in daydreams, inventing all sorts of stories and conversations in their mind. Yeah, I think this is all very accurate. They're known for their sensitivity, which is very true, and I think their deep empathy. And I realize like I care about empathy. I talk about empathy almost all the time. It's like the most important thing to me for my kids, etc. So yeah, compassionate, not non-judgmental, always willing to hear another person's story. Now,
Even with that one character difference, I think we're very different people.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah. But we should go to the bad parts of INFP. So really quickly, strengths, empathetic, generous, open-minded, creative, passionate, idealistic. Weaknesses, unrealistic, self-isolating, unfocused, emotionally vulnerable. I don't know what that means. We can maybe be manipulated because we don't set good boundaries. Too eager to please and self-critical are some of the...
It says too eager to please. Interesting. It says the complete opposite in the Korean site.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Let me see. That's interesting. And the English site says conflict tends to be stressful, so we yearn for harmony and acceptance. When someone dislikes or disapproves of them, their personality may become fixated on trying to clear the air and change that person's mind. They might even take responsibility and apologize for things that are not their fault in an effort to make sure they're in everyone's good graces. So unfortunately, INFP's desire to please others can drain their energy, eclipsing their inner wisdom and their own awareness of their own needs. So this is very accurate for me.
Really?
But I'm curious what the Korean site says.
The Korean site says it's 정열적이고 충실하며 낭만적임. It's like you're passionate and romantic. 자신과 관련된 사람들에 대한 책임감. What's 책임감? You feel responsible for the people who are related to you. 성실하고 이해심이 많음. You're diligent.
I don't think I'm very diligent.
Yeah.
I'm quite lazy.
And you're understanding of others.
That I think is true. Yeah.
자신만의 가치 추구. You pursue your own values. And this part is, I think, completely the opposite of what you described in the American site.
Yeah, I'm curious.
다른 사람을 지배하거나 일부러 좋은 인상을 주려고 하지 않음. You don't try to dominate other people or not try to give a good impression like forcefully.
Yeah, so I think I tend to be very authentic and I'm just going to be myself. I think the part that resonates with me as a weakness is when there is conflict. I really want to try to get rid of the conflict.
Yeah, you do.
Almost too aggressively. Yeah, to the point where again, I will stop being so authentic in an attempt to avoid that conflict. But in the absence of conflict, I think I am very much like my own self.
But you're very engaged in trying to solve that conflict, right? Rather than shy away from the conflict.
Yeah, I think when it is more personal, and I'm trying to think of a difference here. If someone's judging me, I don't care. But if there's like a personal thing where it's like, oh, we're friends, but I offended them, or they're hurt by what I said, then I'll kind of react very do the opposite, if that makes sense.
I see.
So it's more of like, if someone says like, oh, what you're doing is wrong, or judgment, I don't care. But if it's more the relationship is at risk, then I'll really care.
Yeah. I see. So you think that your MBTI is pretty accurate?
Yeah, very accurate. Yeah.
So you want? Do you think it's safe to say that you're a believer in MBTI?
I really like personality frameworks in general. Like you said, it gives me another lens through which I can evaluate myself, other people, and our relationship. So in general, I like all of them. I think they're all good for certain things. But I don't go so far as to say like, because I'm an INFP, I shouldn't do this job, etc. So
Yeah.
Where are you on that believer, non-believer spectrum?
I think I'm pretty similar to the degree of how you believe in.
Okay.
I think it's a good framework to definitely, I think there are positive things that comes from MBTI to get to understand others better. And I think, again, it's just natural human behavior to try to categorize things and cluster things to understand things better.
Yeah.
I think it's just natural. And I think it's not total BS is what I want to say.
Yeah.
It's almost like your food preference almost. Do you
Yeah.
like salty food or sweet food, right?
Sure.
You're just like answering things that are true to you.
Yeah.
And it'll spit out something that like that is synthesized. Yeah.
Yeah. I think my N and P are the strongest, and then IE, again, I'm pretty much in the middle, but slightly towards I. And then the FT, I think, again, I can go back and forth a bit, but
Oh, interesting. All 4 of my characters are very strong. Yeah.
when you test, they give you the like spectrum.
Yeah.
You're very strong.
Yeah.
But overall, INTP resonates with you. Okay,
Yes.
okay.
They say the worst aspects of an INTP is that they like being an INTP.
Jun, over Chuseok, I was hanging out with my wife is the oldest of her cousins. So again, a lot of them are getting married. They're younger. One girl cousin is still in her 20s. So I was talking to her, trying to like just talk to a 20-year-old. What do 20-year-olds think about, etc. And she said MBTI is still very commonly talked about. It's still probably the first thing that Koreans will talk about when they sit down.
Yeah.
And especially when it comes to like dating or sogeting, they're very into it still. So I just want to confirm it's still going on. It's still very commonly used.
And I think it acts as a good icebreaker in Korea, especially because people are not really used to small talk.
Yeah.
And when you start talking about MBTI, it's just such an easy thing to start talking about things and get to know each other better. So yeah.
But maybe we can use this to transition. I want to talk about how deeply ingrained it is in society now. And just a couple examples. One, there's a coffee shop. Do you know North, like Pamyasamol near there?
I know what it is. I've never been there.
I don't know what it's called, but I think it was literally called like ENFP, or like the coffee shop name was one of the Myers-Briggs types.
Oh, interesting.
Just like, what? That's pretty extreme. I don't know. Like to just have a Myers-Briggs type be your coffee shop name. Another thing is, I took my kids to a nearby kids cafe last weekend. They have like okay, at the kids cafe there's like art, craft center, whatever. But this one was entirely focused on Myers-Briggs for kids. I think it was like an activity thing to help them type themselves as like 6-year-olds.
Yeah.
It was both cute, but also like, this is, I don't know, too much.
Kind
maybe
of too much.
Yeah. But maybe I'm misinterpreting. I should try to find the picture and send it to you. But it's just, again, it's even at certain cafes or restaurants now, they'll list like a recommended menu item based on your Myers-Briggs. I saw that
really?
Somewhere. Yeah.
Interesting.
Like if you're an INFP, you might like this.
Wow.
I didn't actually go in, but I just saw it walking by. So yeah, just wanting to share for the audience, especially non-Koreans. It is everywhere, so deeply ingrained, very ubiquitous in Korean society.
I'm surprised that you didn't mention this.
Which one?
There was a huge controversy around certain companies that posted their job descriptions saying that like certain MBTIs are not allowed to apply for this job.
Thank you for reminding me, Jun.
Yeah.
Guess which type they were discriminating against?
Oh, isn't it INFP?
I'm not kidding. Yeah,
Really?
They only listed INFPs are not welcome.
Oh, interesting. Wow.
How can this be legal? How can you discriminate against the Myers-Briggs type?
I think it should be illegal, right?
It should be illegal.
Yeah.
No, but this job, it was actively saying, the job post, INFP should not apply.
It's wrong, but it's also helpful if you're an INFP to understand maybe I shouldn't apply here.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Admittedly, in a very rigid corporate structure, I don't think INFPs are set up for success.
Really?
But saying that, I don't know. I'm in a. We'll get to this later when we do the Q&A, right? But I feel like I'm in a workplace and work environment where INFPs would also not be successful. But I think I found some success, and I think it's because I bring, diversity of thought. I bring an element that most people would not bring in my industry. So yeah, I think it's been difficult in some ways because I don't fit the mold. But in a sense, I think it's been good not only for me, but for the team, the company, et cetera, overall, to have just different perspectives in general. And that's where I think diversity is taken as such an obvious benefit in America and in the American corporate world, et cetera. Just having different perspectives, different thoughts, like it's just good, right? To avoid biases and things like that. So anyway, thanks for reminding me of that.
Yeah. I think in general, the most favored Myers-Briggs types at a workplace is either an ESTJ or an ENTJ.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm literally the opposite. Yeah.
Because they're like more like outgoing, which means that they can socialize and like team up with other, functions more better. S and N, I think it doesn't really matter that much. Like T, more of a thinker than a feeler. I think it's more, could be more preferred in a workplace in general.
Yeah.
And then what's the P and the J, right? P's are more spontaneous, I think, and J's are more planned.
Systematic
Yeah.
and thorough. Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, you can see that.
I would have thought Korean workplaces want ISTJs.
ISTJs.
Don't they just want like people to quietly like do what they're asked and like do it well?
But
I'm
like,
specifically harping on the I versus E because you said like collaborative, etc. But again, my understanding of Korean workplaces is just like get your work done.
but if I were a business owner, I would
Yeah.
prefer an E over an I because
okay,
like
okay.
they can proactively initiate things better. Yeah.
Makes sense.
It depends on the role, I guess.
Yeah. Okay, I think this is one other thing I wanted to bring up. In general, I would say in America, Myers-Briggs is more associated with workplace things and workplace, whatever, career type, success, etc. And that's why it's kind of like seen as pseudoscience more than it is social things. Whereas in Korea, it feels almost purely social and it's not that much used in the context of work and like work function and career. Is that true?
It's not very well integrated into the workplace culture. It's more of a social thing, yes. I've had certain experiences in the workplace where they do some kind of like workplace oriented personality types that is not an MBTI.
Oh, okay, okay.
There was like this Kai test or something that I don't understand.
Is it the 4 colors? Okay.
I honestly don't
I know
remember.
them all. I know a lot of them.
Yeah.
Okay, okay. But yeah, you'd agree. Mostly it's used socially here. Specifically for romantic relationships, right?
Or like just our friends,
Just
social
talking.
gatherings in
Like,
general.
like,
Yeah.
okay, okay.
Yeah.
I was watching a drama recently. I think Dr. Slump. And the line came up like, no tia? Like, what is that? Are you a T? And you brought it up before, right? I think, no tia?
It's more of the... Okay. We have to bleep this out because it involves like certain cursing.
Oh, okay.
It's actually no tia.
Oh, really?
Like, are you a fucking T? But they try to mitigate a little bit and they call it no ti발시야.
Oh,
Just like
tibal시, yeah.
switching the she and the
I
T
see,
kind
I
of like
see.
ironically.
I don't get it, but yeah.
It's just the way to, I guess, criticize T people
Yeah.
by having no empathy.
Yeah,
towards
yeah,
them. Yeah.
Kind of robotic or
Yeah.
like unemotional.
Oh.
But again, it's to the point where like that is just a common thing to say in Korean society, and everyone would understand what you mean. Like, oh, are you a T?
Yeah.
Yeah. If you say like that in America, no one would understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
Like a T? What's a T? Like what? Okay. Anyway.
There was this very famous meme or like a challenge in Korean social media
Yeah.
where now that I try to describe this, this feels kind of wrong. But parents of little children film their children reacting to a certain line that they throw to their kids
Yeah.
to see if their child is a T or an F.
I see.
And the line goes,
Yeah.
if I'm the 아빠, right?
Yeah.
아빠가 우울해서 빵 샀어.
Yeah.
Do you know what this means?
I just know you bought bread, but I don't know what urasa means.
Because I was depressed.
Ah.
And the F children would say like, why are you depressed first?
Yeah.
And the T children was like, what kind of bread?
Oh, that's classic.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to bring up another one.
Okay.
This is a test to distinguish between an N and an S.
Okay.
So let's say you're climbing up a mountain.
Uh-huh.
Would you rather high five everyone that you meet during your climb, or twerk your way all the way up to the top?
I mean, I would rather high five everyone, but yeah.
Yeah.
Who would want to twerk their way up to the top of the mountain?
Yeah. So that's a classic N reaction.
Yeah, who would twerk? S's?
No, S's would say, why are you even asking this question?
Good one.
It's like,
yeah.
no, like, why are you
I'm not even
assuming?
gonna answer this. Yeah, okay. Oh, that's a good one, Jun.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's a million of these MBTI like adjacent things in Korea because people talk about it so much.
Yes.
Yeah, that's cool. I wish I knew Korean better so I could dive into the world of Korean MBTI.
You should ask your kids. 아빠가
I'm
우울해서 빵
depressed. So, yeah.
샀어.
I mean, my kids are at the age to be like, "What's depressed mean?" They don't know. They're still too young, but my kids. You know, it's funny. I'll get into this in a second, but I do think in general you can start to see their personalities already, and I think I would be able to type them pretty accurately. Yeah.
Oh, in terms of Myers-Briggs?
Myers-Briggs, yeah, and the next one we'll talk about. So.
Yes, I'm excited about this one.
Oh, we're not going to talk about it much
because I know that you are really into this next one.
Yeah.
And I think it's very fascinating. It has more dimensions than MBTI, I think.
I do think it approaches it a little bit differently. So, Jun, the other personality test that I'm really into, that I really am convinced will take off in Korea. Maybe not. You've read the book, so maybe you can help me give your perspective
I already
on that.
forgot everything.
Well, yeah.
But I understand. I still remember the concept of it, and I think it was very fascinating.
Yeah, so the one it was very popular with my friend group maybe like 5 years ago, but it's called Enneagram, which is some Greek word I think for like 9.
Yeah.
And it starts from it tries to type people into 9 different buckets. And I have to be honest, Jun, at first I was like, this is BS. Like 9? It's so random. At least Myers-Briggs is, 4x4. They evaluate you on these 4 different axes, right? And you can be leaning more towards one or the other. So yeah, 2 to the 4th, makes sense, right? 9 is not a power of 2.
Yeah.
Like it's not the same way.
Yeah.
So I'm like, this is just BS, okay? And then I was sick one day, I remember, in bed. And there was like the only book within arm's reach of mine was this random Enneagram book that my mother-in-law had given my, my wife. And so I was like, okay, I'm not getting out of bed. I'm just gonna start reading this book. Jun, I'm not kidding you. I read cover to cover straight.
Yeah.
And I was sick.
Yeah.
I just couldn't stop reading it, especially the part about my type.
Yeah.
I've never read such a oddly accurate, like it's accurate about the weirdest things.
Yeah.
Such an oddly accurate description of me that brings to light all of the like weird like trauma and toxic relationship things that I bring in.
Yes.
I was like, oh my God, this is eerily accurate. This is crazy.
Yeah.
And ever since then, I've been a believer. I've read maybe 4 books.
Oh, you did?
I've listened to maybe not 100, but close to 100 podcast episodes about it.
Wow.
And I think Enneagram is so transformational to really understanding myself and understanding others, and specifically kind of how to debug relationship conflict. It's just so good. Cool. And I think it's, in a sense, I've talked about it right earlier, it's even less scientific or systematic than Myers-Briggs. And for that reason, I'm not sure Koreans will take to it. I think Koreans really appreciate like structure and logic and things like that. Maybe. But I don't
They're also into Saju.
They're also into Saju. But yeah, so at its core, I think modern people will say Enneagram is about your childhood wounding. So it all starts from like what was the childhood message that you either didn't get or that you were taught that is not true. And it's just a childhood trauma, basically, and how that shapes who you are.
Yeah.
I'll really quickly get into why 9 makes sense. Because if you take it from 2 different axes, both of which have 3 answers, then it actually forms like a nice, grid of 3 by 3. So one is basically, do you lead with I think they call it intelligence centers, your gut, your heart, and your mind. So basically, are you oriented towards thinking, feeling, or action? Gut is like what you're going to do. And so it's like, again,
it's oddly aligned with Myers-Briggs too in that way.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So
it's like thinking, feeling.
That's true.
Yeah.
In a given situation, do you lead with, okay, I'm going to do this? Or, well, I think, or is it like I feel? And it's funny, right? I'm a strong feeler. I realized like I always just say I feel that. Even if I should say I think that, I say I feel that. I always lead with feel. And the other axes, of which there are three different answers, is your how you relate to time. Are you primarily someone who thinks about the past, the present, or the future? And again, you just map those and it leads to the 9 different types in a sense in Enneagram. But yeah, some of the examples, maybe I should have shared this earlier, of like the childhood wounding message. And this is the one for my type. I'm an Enneagram type 4. This is so random, right? But the wounding message is, as a child, I believe that it's not okay to be too functional or too happy.
Yeah.
Isn't that such a weird thing?
But
Like,
it resonates with the
when-
Myers-Briggs things that you're or the blood type that
Oh,
you
really?
wait.
Oh, yeah, that was Myers-Briggs. Yeah.
Yeah.
And actually, there is a strong relationship, of course, between Myers-Briggs types and Enneagram types. But I don't know, it's just such a random thing, right? It's not okay to be too functional or too happy. When I first read this, I almost cried.
Oh.
And my friend, he went to like a Enneagram, I guess, workshop run by one of the like famous Enneagram people, Suzanne Stabile. And he said in a room of like 30 grown-ups, every single person cried when they heard this message. Not this one, the one for their type, right? And it's just like, it's just so oddly unique, right? I never felt like it was okay to be too happy. I never thought it was okay to be too smart, right? Too functional, too good at anything. And it's because like, and I won't get into it too deeply, but for me, it's like, well, if I'm too good at that, other people will feel bad about themselves because I'm better than them at that. I don't want them to feel bad. So I won't even try my best to be the best I can be because I don't want to make other people feel bad, let's say. Or it's like being too happy. I did not have, let's say, the most peaceful upbringing. So if I saw conflict between my mom and my dad and my brother and sister, whatever, for me, it felt like if I'm happy, it's gonna, it's not right to be happy because they're not happy. And anyway, it's just like very kind of unique thing, I think. But anyway, it's just one example.
Yeah.
I'll bring up maybe some other ones.
What did you think? What did you say my type was?
I think you're a 2, maybe a 3.
Okay, I forgot what 2s are.
I think you're a 3. 2.
Or 3? 2.5?
No. I could type you right now if you want. Twos are the need to be needed. Maybe I'll run through them very quickly.
I think I'm a 3. Then
3 is the need to be successful or perceived as successful.
Then I think I'm a 3.
Yeah, I think you're a 3.
Yeah.
But there's also the wings, which anyway, I won't go too deep into this.
Yeah.
Without having done any research like a good P, let me just very quickly run through the 9 types and I'll stop there maybe.
Yeah.
But the type 1 is perfectionist. So they need to do everything perfectly. And the easiest way to diagnose this one or to type this one is ones have this inner voice. I never thought I'd talk about Enneagram on a podcast. Sorry, this is kind of surreal because I listen to so many podcasts about it. And I'm definitely not an expert, but okay. I'd say I'm a casual Enneagram fan. Type 1s are easy to test because they have an inner voice that is very critical. It's always saying, you're not doing it right, you're wrong, you could do it better, etc.
Yeah.
And so that's number 1. Type 2 is the need to be needed. So they're always helping others at cost to self. And the common thing for them is they'll do something, and as they're doing it, they're like, why am I doing this? Why did I agree to do this?
Yeah.
I'm never doing this again.
Yeah.
But then sure enough, the next chance to help someone comes up, they're going to do it. Type 3, it's the politician in a sense. They're driven by the need to be successful, specifically perceived as successful. So whether it's society, whether it's their friend group, they want people to think, oh, I have it together, I'm successful, etc. Type 4, which is my type, it's the need to be unique. And actually kind of seen for who they are. But for type 4s, I don't even know how to describe it. They're never happy, but they're kind of happy not being happy.
Yeah, emo. Yeah.
Very emo. Okay, type 5s they seek knowledge. They primarily are driven, they want to know everything. So they're the ones who are going to a common thing is if people try to pursue 3 different grad degrees, I got an MD, then I got a JD, then I became this other PhD and whatever. They just want to learn. They don't care about applying it. They don't care about relationships as much. They just want to learn as much as they can. 6, they're driven by fear. So they generally want to seek collective, communal, like safety.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, anyway, they're driven by anxiety and fear primarily, and they
Mm-hmm.
want to try to minimize that.
Mm.
Type 7s are all about living the YOLO life.
Yeah.
Like they just try to seek out pleasure and happiness and excitement every chance they get.
Mm.
And for them, it's like they always will turn a negative into a positive. And so that's type 7, life of the party in a sense. Type 8s are kind of the need for conflict. So they will always, conflict is kind of the leading way that they find themselves in relationships and society. And type 9s are driven by basically they're called the peacemakers. So they want to really avoid conflict. And I think just, yeah, again, try to create harmony in whatever situation they're in. So anyway, that's a very quick rundown of the 9 types. I could talk about this for hours and hours, but yeah, I'm curious to see if Enneagram, if there are people familiar with it in Korea, or if it eventually takes off in Korea.
I definitely saw people talking about Enneagram in social media and stuff like that. It's definitely not as nothing near to the popularity of MBTI.
But it does have some, people at least are aware of it or you've heard of it before.
I want to say maybe less than 10%.
Have you heard about it before I mentioned it?
Yes, I actually did hear it in a podcast before.
I didn't know you listen to podcasts.
Sometimes I did, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. The fascinating thing I thought about Enneagram is that you told me that the typical way to like diagnose your type is not to do a test, but read through all the 9 types, and there would be one that you cannot mistake.
Yes.
And just like, and I in the book it said you're so embarrassed by this distinctive feeling of like I feel so embarrassed.
Yeah.
Is the one
that's yours.
That your type is.
It's like you're so cringe because they're like exposing your worst parts of you. Yeah.
And I can kind of see that. And you also said that the other types so does not resonate with you, so that you distinctively just know what your type is.
Yeah.
And I understand that by if you just reading the one-liner of all the needs of the different types. I kind of got why you thought I was either 2 or 3, because I kind of resonate with both a little bit, but I think I'm more leaning towards the 3. But all the other 7 types,
you're like, no.
I like not at all, kind of.
Yeah.
And I also thought it was interesting because it relates, like one type relates to some other type, and you mentioned it as wings, right?
Yeah.
Depicting like what, like your low state and your high state, you said?
Yeah, Jun, we can go super deep into
Yeah.
this, but this is where it gets very like mysticism oriented, which maybe Koreans will like, right?
Yeah.
But so first of all, the 9, if you arrange them in a circle, you have a wing, right? So if I'm a 9, I can be a 9 wing 1 or a 9 wing 2.
Yeah.
And to be clear, you always start off one way, but as you mature, let's say in your 30s and 40s, typically people will be both, right? So I'd say growing up, I was more of a 4 wing 3, but now I'm more of, I've definitely leaned into my 5 wing as I've gotten older. And then the other thing is, like you said, Enneagram theory, which I don't subscribe to as deeply, but the origins of it say that as you're in a healthy state, you gravitate towards one of the other 9 numbers, right? But when you're in a negative state or a down state, when you're an unhealthy number, you'll go to another form. And so for me, 4s will go to either 1 or 2. So when I'm in a very healthy state, I think I'll go towards 1, which is good because 4s typically are very lazy, but 1s are very much doers. Like they'll I'll spur myself to action. But when I'm in an unhealthy state, I'll go towards 2, which is instead of like doing something for myself, I look around at other people. Oh, what can I do? What can I do? What can I do? Just to kind of feel productive. But it's really not addressing what I need to do for myself. I'll always ignore that as an unhealthy 4. I'll just do for other people what they need. But I will also say, Jun, like if I think it's called like a tri-type, but when I was initially reading all the numbers, I really resonate with 9 and 1 a lot, right? And this is what I mean. Like I don't, just like my Myers-Briggs approach, I don't go all in on the theory and like especially the origins of it, etc. But I just see it as another way again, like this really resonates with me, helps me understand myself, helps me understand others, and helps me, understand conflict in relationships and how to get past it. So, yeah, I think Enneagram probably has, for me at least, zero impact in the workplace. There's another test for that I really like.
Oh yeah, the thing that you did for our
I
team.
make everyone do it on my
Yeah,
team.
yeah.
That one is, again, transformational for the workplace for me. But as far as personal relationships goes, I think Enneagram is really, really, it's been really powerful for me. Yeah.
I think I'm a 3-wing too.
I think you're a 3-wing too.
Yeah.
But as you mature, you get into the 4-wing.
Which is you?
Jun, come on. You're a drummer in a band. It's kind of unique. You make your own ice cream. That's
true.
definitely unique.
Oh, interesting.
I feel like you like being unique too.
I think so.
You're a 4. Those are some of the 4 things. Yeah.
But I don't sense the emo aspect of the 4 though at all. Maybe I am. Maybe it's latent.
If someone looks at you and calls you basic,
I don't like that.
yeah. Would that not trigger an emo-ness with you? Yeah.
But it's not like in an emo way.
Okay, the emo part, I think, because you're not a 4. You're just kind of the wing of it.
I see.
Yeah, but again, 4s, nothing's right in the world, and that we're never happy, and we're okay never being happy. 4 is honestly, maybe this is not objective, but I think 4 is the worst number. I like being a 4 at
That's
the
a
same
typical
time.
4 thing.
I think it's a typical 4 thing. I like being a 4 at the same time. I don't want any of my kids to be a 4. I think you live a very difficult life as a 4. Yeah. Anyway.
Interesting.
Okay, we could go on and on about this forever, but I'll stop there. So, Jun, in the spirit of this episode being a lot about, of course, MBTI and how Koreans talk about Myers-Briggs, but getting to know us as hosts, I thought it'd be a good chance for us to finally go through the poll we did.
Oh, the AMA?
Yeah, when we hit 50 subscribers, 50K Instagram followers, and answer the questions that were asked. And then I think that'll be it. So
I'm impressed how well you blended in this into our our episode.
I'm very good at big picture, Jun.
Yeah, you are.
Excellent at that, horrible at details. Okay, we will not reveal Instagram handles, but this one says, 준님은 어떻게 이렇게 영어를 잘 하게 됐나요?
Okay. So first of all, thank you.
Oh yeah, thank you for everyone who wrote. Oh, thank you for saying your English is so good.
Yeah, that was what I was.
Like a typical Enneagram 3. You love the praise.
I love the praise. Thank you. Okay, first of all, thank you for everyone responding or asking questions towards us. I think it's been a while, and probably, I don't know if anyone thought that when are we ever going to answer those questions?
Yeah. When was this? Sorry.
It was a month ago, I think.
August 28th we asked, so yeah, almost a month ago.
Yeah. But also, thank you for praising my English.
Come on, Jun, you know your English is good.
So, the reason why I think my English is better than your typical Korean
So humble.
is because I had an experience of living in the States for 2 years when I was 6 to 8 or 5 to 7 in
USH.
USH. So my dad had an opportunity to do his extended studies in the States, so he brought the entire family to the States. I lived in California near Los Angeles, a city called Torrance, for 2 years I don't want to dox my age, but anyways, for 2 years in the early 90s.
Have you not shared your age?
Maybe I did.
Have.
Okay,
Anyway,
from
yeah,
1990 to 1992. Which I think is a very critical age of learning languages in general.
I think so.
And I think some Koreans who have that experience of living in the States for a couple of years in the States and coming back and completely losing all their English. But the reason why it sticked with me a little bit longer is because me and my brother had a relationship in talking in English at that age, and it sticked for a very long time. So I think that's one of the reasons why I could sort of maintain the English a little bit. And then I kind of rebooted that when I went to grad school for my studies in the States for 4 years. Yeah, that's pretty much it.
Yeah. So I think not only it's cool that you and your brother had that type of relationship where you talk in English.
Yeah, I think that's pretty important.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was it so your parents could understand what you were saying?
I don't think we were that sly at that age of like
Uh,
5 to 7, but it was just more natural for us.
oh, it was.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay. So would you say at the end of when you were leaving US as a kid, your English was better than your Korean at that point?
Definitely, yes.
Wow. Okay. That's hard to believe. Yeah. Okay. Next question. What has been the most surprising thing you've learned from podcasting? How much I say like and you know?
Most surprising thing that I learned from podcasting? Surprising? The biggest surprise that I learned from podcasting in this topic in general is how generally Korean people wanted to learn English through podcasts.
Yeah.
I don't know what else.
I think that's a good lesson, right? Like, I don't know if we must have mentioned this before on one of our milestone episodes, but just starting and doing it, it felt like such a big thing. But once
Yeah.
we started going, it's like, oh, this is just do it, right? It
Yeah.
might not be the best, but just put it out there,
Yeah.
and who knows where it'll go and who might be interested.
Yes.
We never would have thought that people would use this for English practice, but here we are.
Yeah.
So just really just doing it and just trying it and just go for it. Why not?
I feel like people, especially the type ones, might think that there's too much work involved in doing this. And I think we put our minimal effort. I don't want to say that it's nothing, but
Yeah, it's definitely not nothing, but
again, the number one thing that is, at least for me, in like trying something or like adding another aspect to our podcast in terms of like putting effort is whether this is going to be sustainable or not.
yeah, yeah.
Like, so I try to do my bare minimum effort to make this a sustainable thing. Yeah.
Yep.
If it's too much work that I feel like I'm going to give up in the middle, I'm just not going to do that. Yeah.
Again, we could focus on better audio quality. We could try to become better public speakers.
Yeah. Or like at least get another angle, camera angle.
We could get more cameras.
Yeah.
We could plan more. At the end of the day, I think just consistency of producing it
Yeah.
has been, important for us. And, another thing is it's fun, but also a continuation of what we did casually anyway over lunchtime conversations. And
Yeah.
so,
Oh yeah, that was one of the questions.
oh, how
here.
did this start?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, we'll get to that more again later.
Yeah.
But I guess I'm just saying there are a lot of things that could have stopped us or prevented us from even starting. And I think just getting going and just putting it out there.
Yeah.
If you enjoy it, just do it. Yeah.
I mean, I'm very surprised that we were able to gain this much of an audience.
Yeah, I think it's really surprising. Again.
Yeah.
I've said repeatedly, I would be okay doing this with no listeners. This is really just like a creative outlet that I want to document my time and thoughts and experiences here in Korea.
But for me, at least, it's a good motivation to try to publish things like weekly, right?
I'm curious why you keep doing it.
Why I keep doing it?
Why do you put up with me, June, every week?
Because I think it's a very meaningful thing. I love that I do a podcast.
You add that to your list of unique traits, June, that you have.
No, but I think I get more motivation by having more listeners than you do.
For sure, yeah.
I think I wouldn't do it as diligently as I do it right now if there were like no listeners. Yeah.
I guess a part of me would feel depressed. We might stop publishing this, but I would still want to keep recording it for my own sake.
And I like the fact that I have an outlet to like publicly say things that I believe in.
Ah, your platform.
Yeah.
Okay. I like that. Okay, next one. Why is June so good at English, though? Okay, it's like a native English speaker, though. But yeah, we already answered that.
Yes.
주님은 영어 공부 어떻게 하셨나요? We already answered that, I think.
안 했어요. No, I just lived in the States for a total of 6 years.
But June, would you say talking to me weekly has helped your English improve?
Not as much as I expected that it would help me. But it definitely would help, right? Yeah.
I don't know. When we stopped recording for like a month, I definitely feel that first episode back.
Oh yeah, that's true. That's true. Yeah.
You're a little more slow with your English.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Yeah.
Uh,
It does help me.
no, I'm just okay.
Yeah.
The next one is just woohoo, congrats. Okay. 형님은 한국말 어느 정도로 하시네요? Which is me.
Yeah.
How's my Korean?
Yeah.
I think you know the answer to that. I feel like my typical answer is I have the vocabulary of a 3-year-old, I believe. Maybe 4.
4 to 5.
Maybe not quite 5, but I think 4.5. With
Definitely less than your third child, right? Or
I'd say she knows more than I do.
yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I'd say I have the vocabulary of a 4-year-old with the pronunciation of, a Gyopo who's lived in Korea for 3 years.
A white person.
Well, okay. With the pronunciation of a white person, but I think with the general language awareness and structural understanding of someone more, maybe like 7, 8. Because honestly, I'm watching like dramas without subtitles
That's
sometimes.
true. Yeah.
I really can follow pretty well. And by the end, I'm starting to like Okay, I'm at the point now where I can just pick out the words I don't know and everything else I do know.
Oh, interesting.
Right? Before, it's like I don't even know the structure or like what the connecting words are meaning.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's my Korean. 팟캐스트 시작하게 된 계기.
Why did you decide to
start the podcast? Yeah, I mean, for me, again, it was a creative outlet. Oh, we haven't talked about this yet. I'm in a career where I think creativity isn't as valued. And I think in general, I've always been very, right brain dominant, very creative person. So my whole life, I've always sought out these like creative outlets, whatever it might be. And so this is just the latest one.
You know what I want to say about that is
Yeah.
I feel like you're at your stage of life where maybe creativity plays more. And I want to see you do more crazy fun things.
That's true.
Yeah.
I have a lot of ideas, Jun.
Yeah. You
For
just have
me-
to find an executor, which I think is kind of our dynamic in the podcast.
Exactly.
Yeah. Which I'm happy to play a part.
My American friend who started listening, he says we have a good balance because this is like a term in American broadcasting, specifically sports. There's a play-by-play commentator
Yeah.
and there's a color commentator. So play-by-play is their goal is to have the listener understand exactly what's
Just
happening
addressing that.
objectively,
Yeah.
and the color commentator is supposed to make it fun.
So you're the color commentator.
To your play-by-play,
Yeah.
But yeah, June, why did you want to start the podcast?
I think the idea of doing a podcast was very fun for me. I like talking to you in general.
Same.
I think I very highly value your creative mind, and I like to be an executor in that dynamic.
Oh.
Yeah.
Much more thoughtful than me. I guess we should address again the origin story very quickly. We've talked about it probably a few times in the course of our podcast, but yeah, we were on the same team at work, and lunchtime again, Koreans always eat together. And so we always had these conversations that would just, in my opinion, be super fascinating for me to understand. I think the first one that really stuck out to me was you went super deep on the history of Taiwan in relation to Japan and why
yes.
like Japanese culture was almost more popular in Taiwan than Korean culture for a while. And like, there was some Olympic thing or, Taiwanese people were smashing Korean TVs. I don't know exactly.
Yeah.
But I was like, oh my God, that is like super fascinating to me. And even though I grew up with so many Taiwanese friends, never learned that. Yeah. So anyway,
Surprisingly, it was a Taiwanese thing.
what do you mean? Oh,
It was not even a Korean culture.
Okay, the next one. 두 분 어떻게 만나게 되셨나요?
So we answered that.
Kind of. Yeah. Oh yeah. We worked together at the same company.
You remember the first time we met?
At the Starbucks nearby.
Yes.
You remember?
Yes, I do.
Okay. Yeah. I was like, oh, this guy's English is good. I can work with him.
You didn't realize during our Zoom?
The Zoom.
Because we met in Zoom first.
Oh, I don't remember that. Yeah.
Yeah, because we met in Zoom first, and we realized that we live very close to each other, so we decided to meet.
Okay, okay,
Yeah.
okay. I only remember the Starbucks. I don't remember the Zoom before. 유튜브, 인스타, 팟캐스트 채널 중 가장 애정이 가는 채널이 있을까요? Do you have a favorite channel?
I mean, obviously Instagram because we have the most followers on Instagram, but I feel like there are more hardcore fans on YouTube, and we don't have a feedback loop necessarily on our podcast channels, other than the reviews in Apple Podcasts. So that's like, I don't consider that as an interacting channel that much. TikTok is just like,
We have not had any
yeah,
traction there.
I don't really understand TikTok.
Yeah. So you would say Insta, then YouTube, then podcasts.
Yeah,
Interesting.
I feel that there are more hardcore fans on YouTube because that's where we upload our full episode.
And they have to listen to the whole thing.
Yeah.
I'm the opposite, Jun. Podcast is my favorite channel. Then Instagram, I think, for the feedback. And then YouTube. The reason I'm still not... I'm not thrilled with the fact that we have to be visible. And I feel like podcast, again, you're more focused on the content when you listen to it. So I love it.
It reminds me of the very recent comment that someone commented like yesterday or today.
Yeah.
Saying like, oh, I finally found your YouTube channel.
And you don't look like what I thought you would look
So I was like, in my mind, what did you imagine us to look like? Definitely felt like a letdown a little bit.
Yeah, like we let them down.
Yeah.
But definitely, podcast is actually my favorite channel. Also because I think on Instagram, again, Jun, we just post 60-second clips, right? You don't understand the full depth of conversation, the nuance. So I think for me, I really like being understood completely. And I think the podcast is the best way for that to happen. And people really listening to the content more than anything else.
I see.
Instagram, I like for the comments and feedback and interaction that we get, DMs, etc. And then YouTube, I do like the comments, but I don't love the fact that it's video. Yeah, it's more of like you have to have it to have any success on YouTube. So
I see.
Yeah.
I like the lively discussions on Instagram.
For sure. Yeah. Okay, next one is 한국에서 미국 음식 맛이랑 가장 비슷한 음식점 추천요? 추천, recommend?
Could you recommend a restaurant
An American restaurant?
An American restaurant in Korea that you feel that it's most authentic?
Oh, authentic?
But
Just
what
the
is American food in general?
Yo, come on. Hamburgers?
What's your favorite burger place?
Nearby, I really like Brooklyn the Burger. It's pretty good. They do like the retro, like
Five
diner
Guys
vibes.
just opened up.
Oh, it's open finally.
Yeah.
Yo, that took longer than I expected to open. It took like over a month and a half.
I think so.
Anyway, I will probably be trying it, but Brooklyn the Burger, but it's all chains. And then I will admit the original Pancake House is pretty authentic American breakfast food.
Yeah.
Salty bacon, etc. Yeah. But apart from chains, I don't think I've gone to any like Western style food place. Yeah.
I don't know if I'm the right person to distinguish whether
you
it's
should.
very
Yeah,
authentic
yeah.
or not. I'm a huge burger enthusiast. I think burgers in Korea, their quality has gone drastically. It improved over the past 10 years.
Oh yeah, there's many that I really actively enjoy eating at. Yeah. Which I can't stand, like Loteria burgers. I just can't do it. Too much sauce.
Yeah. I like, surprisingly, one of my favorite burgers is a Korean franchise called Downtowner.
Oh, I've yet to have that. You've mentioned it before.
Pretty good. There's like Boss
Burger
Burger
is great.
pretty good.
Yeah.
Five Guys, I think it's the most authentically American, I think, at this point.
It tastes like Five Guys in America.
Yeah,
But
and
it's
also because of
expensive.
the portions.
Maybe I'll get Five Guys for lunch today. Okay.
You have to wait at least 30 minutes, I think, which is
Really?
not bad. Not bad.
Okay. I'll
Yeah.
wait for the hype to die
Yeah.
down. But yeah, sorry, I cannot recommend any Western ones other than the chains.
If you want to, if this person, I don't know where they live, but if you live in the Seoul area, I think the best American food you can find are in the Haebangchon area near Itaewon.
Oh, but not in Itaewon, 해봉초.
Because like Itaewon is kind of gentrified now, and
Okay,
it's
okay.
like on the outskirts of Itaewon a little bit.
So like okay.
Yeah.
More like rundown part of Itaewon?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. That's in America too. You got to go to the hole in the wall places.
Mm.
All right, next one. 인기를 실감하시나요? Just you're popular?
Do you recognize how popular you are?
I don't think we're that popular still.
Yeah, we don't. I don't think we're
More
that
successful than we had imagined, but I would not say we're that popular. I don't know. Are we?
I sometimes feel that way when like
Yeah.
businesses approach us, which is not that often, but
Yeah,
yeah.
but that's true. That's fair. 두 분이 회사 동료이신가요? 어떤 일
Was.
하시는 분인지 궁금해요. They're curious what we do for work.
Are you guys coworkers? Was the first sentence, and I was like, yeah, we were,
Okay,
not
okay.
anymore.
So we were coworkers, not anymore for about a year, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, we've already...
I work in tech. We both work in tech. I am a designer, and Daniel used to be. Oh, you should
Yeah,
speak
I'm
for yourself.
software engineering. So I was a software engineer for 7 years and then a software engineering manager for whatever's left, like 9.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Do you know what a software engineer in Korean is?
Engineer.
Yeah, sometimes they say that.
What
But-
else would they say?
개발자,
개발자? Like
Yeah.
dog?
developer.
Oh, okay. I was like, why are we that like low on the totem pole? Yeah, that's for another conversation, Jun. Yeah, but yeah, I'm in software engineering. Okay,
But most recently, you weren't a software engineer.
that's fair. In my most recent role, I was more of a product leader, so got to wear the PM hat for a little bit, which was quite fun.
I love you as a product leader.
This is what I was referring to earlier. I think software engineering, the creativity aspect of it is not as valued as far as you want to be really like you want to have your code be very clean and straightforward and well architected and etc. And not that I couldn't do it, but it was always draining for me. I was like, if it works, right? I don't want to. It's not very like I don't get much satisfaction of doing that last whatever to make it like perfect as can be, as clean and well documented, whatever. But when I transition into management, I'm a better engineering manager than I am engineer, just because I get to lean into my cultivating personal relationships, having empathy, understanding different people's motivations. Like I think as a manager, I really thrived, and I'm a much better people leader than I am pure execution software engineer. And then in my most recent role as a PM, honestly, I felt a little bit like there's this whole part of me that can be a good software engineering leader that I'm not using, but just purely leaning into like the creative side and product thinking, I find it quite enjoyable. But then I really suck at a lot of the execution oriented things around like putting together all the task descriptions and creating the putting the board together and just all the really meticulous tracking stuff. I hate it. So I think that's called a product owner.
PO, yeah.
Yeah, if I had a PO in Korea that I could just like be the product visionary,
Yeah.
that's my perfect role.
I think so. Yeah. I think you just have to find the right PO.
But Jun, wouldn't all my engineering knowledge be wasted?
No, because it helps you not be too much of a dreamer.
That's
Because you
true,
know
yeah.
the technical aspects of things. I think so. I think it's a perfect balance. I've never seen you as a full-on software engineer except for like that brief moment where you kind of like coded a little
But
bit.
even then, I hadn't coded for like 8
Yeah,
years, so it was
yeah.
very rusty.
But again, I really valued like your creative aspects, and I think you have very good product intuition. Yeah.
You saw me as a people manager too, Jun.
Oh, I loved you as a people
thank
people
you.
manager. I told you.
감사합니다.
Yeah.
Okay. Next one. 두 분 다 계속 한국에서 사실 예정인가요?
Oh, this is a
오래오래
critical
해주세요.
question.
응?
It's a critical question
Oh.
for you.
공개 방송 비슷한 거 하실 생각은 없으신지?
Is this all one question?
Yeah, one comment.
Also, there are 2 questions in one comment.
The first one is,
Very
are we going to live in
critical
Korea forever?
for you.
My wife and I had given ourselves to the end of September, which gives us a week left to decide. Again, this is really challenging. We don't even have a framework for how to decide, right? It's not like, well, is it career driven? I mean, okay, the framework is whatever is best for our kids.
Yeah.
But even that, there's so many dimensions of best for our kids, right? Do we want them to get into the best college? Do we want them to be happiest? Do we want them to, I don't know, be the most grounded and well-rounded? Do we want them to learn Korean, right? Like all these different things. So there's no best. I don't know. I think it'll be hard. At this point, I could still see us living in Korea forever. It's probably not the most likely outcome, but I don't, in the absence of anything else, this is where we are. So by default, we're here. Yeah.
So to give the person who asked this question a little bit more context, Daniel lived in Korea for about 3.5 years now. And
Not 3 years, 2 months. Yeah.
3 years, 2 months. And is on the verge of trying to decide whether he want to extend his stay in Korea or decide to move back to the US.
Yeah,
right?
basically also because my oldest child is getting to the point where I only want to move one more time. And then I really kind of want to stay put. I think stability for me, I really value. And just having like a continuous childhood, you can make friends, you can, you know, have some sense of home somewhere. So in that sense, I don't want to just move willy-nilly. Our move to Korea was different. Our kids were so young. It's like, oh, we'll move and move back. No big deal.
Yeah.
But now they're getting older to the point where I don't want to move more than once, ideally. Again, life happens, right? What if my parents' health is a concern? All sorts of things. But at least for now.
Do you think that your kids have a preference after having the US trip?
Good question. Their time in the US was not normal, right? It was vacation. They're just constantly with friends and family and just having a grand old time. So of course they all love the US. But also my oldest has said, like, I don't want to leave Korea. I have my friends and family. Sorry, friends in school. But at the same time, like, that's all he knows, right? So I don't put too much weight into that. Maybe I should, but I don't.
I think we should make an entire episode of what you value about Korea to the point where you can decide maybe to live here for a longer time. I think Korean people will find that very fascinating because the general consensus of Koreans in general, again, is like we want to move out from Korea. And I think in general, US is definitely a better place to live in, which I think you have a lot to say in it.
Okay. We could do that.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, and the next one about the doing a live broadcast.
Oh, but I can also answer whether I'm gonna live in Korea
Jun,
forever.
Are you gonna live in Korea moving forward?
Yes.
Oh!
Or I don't know. Okay.
You almost left in 2020.
I did mention this a couple of times during the podcast. During my lifetime, I had multiple times where if I wanted to, I could live outside of Korea. And the more times I had the opportunity, I got to realize that I really like living in Korea. For some reason, I thought that I was the type of person who likes adventures, living abroad. I think I kind of forced myself to believe in that.
Yeah.
But when it became a reality, I realized that maybe I'm not too much of that type of person. But I don't know. Sometimes, like, if I go to the US, like last time I went was like a couple of months ago. Well, I felt, some things are very good about the US. So, yeah.
Jun, my Enneagram mind is like because Koreans see moving abroad and living in the US as being successful.
Yeah.
So your default inclination was oriented that way.
Yeah.
But actually having really thought about it and having enough experience living in the US, you can give a more kind of objective analysis in a sense. Like, what are the pros and cons of each?
Yeah.
And then the live broadcast part of this comment.
Are you gonna come?
Yeah.
Questioner.
Are you gonna come? Like, again, my general inclination is throughout the course of this podcast, Jun, I think we're aligned. Anything new, just try it once. Why not?
Yeah.
We're open to anything. So I think we're both totally down to try a live broadcast in a real studio.
Yeah.
But neither of us believes we'll have any people listening. Come
Who's
here.
ever gonna come, right? Yeah.
We'll have to pay people to fill the audience. So
What is the number of audience that that you feel that you'll be more comfortable in doing a live audience recording?
I've told you I'd be fine with one, but honestly, more reasonable is like 10.
10?
Yeah, I do a live one with 10.
Okay, we'll see in the comments if there are 10 people who are willing to come.
Uh, okay. Doubtful.
Yeah.
가장 좋아하는 에피소드가 궁금해요.
Ah, that's a good
Our
question.
favorite episode?
I'm gonna go through my.
I like a lot of them.
We're at a point where for some episode, I completely don't even know what we talked about.
Yeah.
My recent favorite was the trends one, Lucky Vicky.
Lucky Vicky was good. Yeah.
I like the Han one.
Han.
Yeah.
More than Jung.
I feel like I like the ones that were like I was more prepared and organized.
And you know what I'm gonna say? I actually really like all the recap ones where you kind of just like reflect. Those are some of my favorites because that's what I naturally enjoy doing, just thinking and reflecting. Again, my Enneagram type is more past oriented, so I'm always like thinking about nostalgia and the back and etc.
Oh, you are.
Yeah, oh yeah. Sometimes I get sad when I should be happy because I know it's gonna be gone soon. So emo.
Oh, I feel like that with cherry blossoms.
Exactly. That is emo, right?
I feel sad
That's
when I
emo.
see it in its most like
Beautiful
beautiful
form.
bloom. Yeah.
Jun, imagine seeing everything good in life that way. It's both depressing, but that's how we are.
Oh my God.
Okay, I agree with you. I really like Lucky Vicky was fun, but I like having guests on too. It just provides another perspective. I honestly like a lot. I like them all.
I think Keeping Up with the Kimses, the parenting episode, was by far the most popular episode.
Yeah.
But for me, I thought it was very interesting. I had fun recording, but I didn't have a lot of say in it. Yeah.
That one I really liked again. I love our guests, etc. But
I love them too.
I wish it felt too short.
Yeah.
I felt like we didn't have enough time to really get into all the things we wanted to talk about,
Yes.
which is my only frustration with that episode. And it was our longest episode yet. It was over 2 hours, but I still feel like we could have talked another 2 hours easily.
Yeah.
That's the only reason I didn't love that one completely.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think for me, it's just all the reflection episodes. Now, I really like, again, my typical answer to this would have been the Neighbors one of our earliest ones about relationships and just why Koreans aren't as neighborly in a sense as what I thought they might be.
Yeah.
And how they keep to themselves. Yeah, I just thought it was a very different Korea than what I had imagined. So, okay.
What's your least favorite episode?
My least favorite one? I don't know. Kind of like them all.
You do.
Oh yeah, I think I told you even as we were recording and publishing, I thought the Dragon Ball Z one was a little bit too. It should have been like a 10-minute thing, not the whole episode. Again, my son still loved Dragon Ball Z. Is his favorite thing still in the world, and Akira Toriyama had passed away, so we wanted to honor that somehow. But okay. Differences in work culture. Everything seems unplanned, unorganized in Korea. Why? I don't know why this is.
I don't know why this person thinks that way though.
Oh well, I was gonna say it's not related to AMA at all, but
This person clearly thinks that the workplace in Korea in general is very unorganized. I think it differs by work culture in Korea too. And I definitely could believe that some American companies are very unorganized too.
our previous company was pretty unorganized overall.
I think it was organized. I think it was on the organized side.
Oh, on the organized side.
Yeah.
Oh, that's true. Maybe I don't have that much experience. So
Yeah.
I've only worked at a handful of companies. Yeah, I don't know.
I feel like sometimes in my workplace when things feel very unorganized is a lot of that has to do with language.
Communication.
Yeah, because I think Korean language is very abstract in a way, and I realized that a lot of the times after having a meeting, it ends up being everyone understanding it differently.
Yeah. And indirect, right? I
Yeah.
think that plays a huge role. Okay, next one. Maybe you should be reading the. Why am I? Oh, because I have the phone. 무물 일하기보다는 미국의 사무실 에티켓 궁금해요. 한국처럼 사무실에서 손톱 깎는지 향수도 부리는지. What's the last one? 향수. Or they spray perfume?
Yeah.
Oh.
In the office.
To make it smell nice.
Or to themselves, yeah. I'm very surprised with like the very specific two examples that this person
yeah, they're
gave.
asking what is office etiquette like in America versus Korea? Do they clip their toenails? And
No, fingernails.
do they clip their fingernails and do they spray perfume?
Yeah, in the
Okay.
office.
Definitely, in my experience, no. Clipping fingernails is like personal grooming is very personal.
Yeah.
Like, why would you do that at the office? So I would say hard no. And if you had to, you'd go to the bathroom, close the stall, and do it there.
And what is such an emergency that you have to clip your fingernails?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I just don't think it happened.
Yeah.
And then spraying perfume, like for the sake of office, again, like you're not that mindful of others. So I would say that's also a hard no.
Yeah.
Actually, in the Korean office, when we saw the Febreze bottle on the coat hanger,
Yeah.
I was like, oh, wow, this is nice. Like,
Yeah.
you can spray.
Yeah.
But it was also shocking because I've never seen that before in an office setting. Yeah. So,
But that's not necessarily perfume, right? It is perfumey, maybe.
yeah, are they asking specifically perfume? 향수도
Yeah.
부리는지? Okay,
Yeah.
okay. Maybe women are different. Like, they care more about how they smell. I don't know.
Yeah, I feel like even in Korea these days, it's kind of being more a taboo behavior to clip your fingernails in Korea. I definitely did see people doing that in the office.
Sorry, at their desk, they're just clipping their fingernails,
Yeah.
letting them fly everywhere.
In like dead silence, you just hear like the sound.
Do you think that's an extension of the toothbrushing culture? Just like personal grooming at the office is normal?
I think so. Yeah.
Okay.
No. But I've never personally can recall an instant where someone put on perfume in the office, but I wouldn't be surprised if someone does that.
How about like public spaces? So, like the bus, for example. If you saw someone clipping their fingernails on the bus, would you be like, they have no etiquette?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. That's the same. All right. Nice. Okay, thank you. 두 분이 어떻게 알게 된 사이인지 궁금해요. How we met?
Yeah,
Okay,
we already
covered
answered
it.
that.
Oh, that's it.
Yes.
Done.
Thank you.
So that's it for our getting to know our hosts episode
/MBTI.
/MBTI.
/Enneagram.
Enneagram. I'm actually curious how long the Enneagram segment was because I feel like we just scratched the surface, but it was probably longer than I thought.
Yeah.
All right, before we end, we want to shout out our patrons, our new patrons since last time. So we have two. First, we have JH Lee 19.
Thank you, JH Lee 19.
Thank you, JH Lee 19. And second, we have Yoongyang.
Thank you, Yoongyang.
Thank you, Yoongyang.
She's my good friend again.
Can you tell? Okay, I was gonna say like, can you tell if Yoongyang's a woman's name or a man's name?
It's a woman's name.
100% 백프로.
100%.
Yoongyang.
Yeah.
That one I can't tell. Is it the kyang or the yoon?
Oh, interesting.
We're just together.
It's just together.
Yeah. Interesting. Well, thank you.
Thank
You're
you.
a good friend.
Yeah.
If you feel like this episode was worth 25 cents, consider supporting us for $1 a month on Patreon. Minimum. With which you'll get access to our exclusive Discord.
Yeah.
Where you can discuss our episodes and suggest future ones as well. So, thank you. Again,
I feel like it's becoming more active.
It is becoming more active. Yeah. I really love it. Cool. All right. Well, thanks everyone for listening.
Thank you.
See you next week. Bye.
Bye. And cut.